I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first, I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible.
Just as you ordered.
It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There's a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
My pleasure.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujitz, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations.
Here,
Nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noel? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
Just as you ordered. I'll be right back with that.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end.
There.
Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
Here.
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujitz isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical, condemning vices, and of course describing them in detail. A tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days, and stories from real life with a nice moral to them are popular as well, especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
To the women.
This Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Hus preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. It's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
That sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Here's to a good harvest.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj panuje sej smutek, dodnielo i rano utek, niech ich małżeński majsat, do wczera żylne staje prak, už sej bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jich kůži, nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední den. Budeme se bávit, ano ráda stávit a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem, tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned a točí se svět.
Enough of this!
Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
I'll slay you, you scum.
Gunda!
Ow!
Yeah!
So, my dear, wouldn't you like to have a little ring on the bell? Easier said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure.
Right, Henry. Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
People say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dear. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're a buffoon.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh, shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look, from what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
I thought he'd never show up. The swill pop.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait.
Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem. Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where, by the grace of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
I wonder what Teresa's doing now. I could stop by and see her again. I enjoyed it last time.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
Boy has a cheek.
One should not believe in the church, because the church is not God. God is above all things, and the church is but a means to salvation, which the prelates do not care to hear.
He's right.
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame. Shame upon them.
And what sins? They live with harlots and keep concubines, even though only marital intercourse for the purpose of procreation is pure. If someone takes a woman or man only to satisfy their own lust, who seduces them to do so but Satan? And how much darker the sin if that man is a servant of the church? Who can turn his face to God, who fornicates and then puts on priestly robes?
Nothing we don't know about already.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion?
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that Hus.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So's gluttony. And fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubosh tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubosh came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubosh kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubosh killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
Are you serious?
What the hell? What is it?
Jesus Christ be praised.
Is there someone here who can compete with me in archery?
Sure, there's always arrows flying here. First, I'll explain the rules to you. You shoot 7, 13, or 21 arrows, depending on who you're shooting against. The straw surround is worth 1 point, the white ring 2, and the bullseye 3. Whoever finishes shooting first gets 3 extra points. The round ends when everyone is finished shooting, and whoever has the most points wins. It's the custom to wager on it, to make it more interesting, see? The better the archers you shoot against, the higher the stakes.
All right, that seems straightforward.
Just one more thing. Don't leave while the contest is underway, and never aim or shoot at anything but the target. Otherwise, you're out. Got it?
Got it.
How good are you with a bow? So I can find you a suitable opponent.
I'm a beginner.
Doesn't matter. At least you'll get a bit of practice. Beginners shoot 7 arrows around. Splendid! Here's some arrows for you. But you can use your own if you want. Meanwhile, I'll round up the competition. Right, archers. The contest is over. Henry here is the winner.
Watch it. You can't draw your weapon here.
I know you. I remember that ugly mug. What a piece of luck. Quitting?
Is that the best you can do?
Take that!
What is it?
Hey, look out! What are you doing? Hey! Huh?
What's going on there?
Who's there? What? Shh. What's that?
Lost something hereabouts? Come now.
What's the matter?
Ah! Nothing's the matter. I'd just like to pass the time of day with a fellow wayfarer.
I see. What do you have in mind?
We could have a little bout of combat, for the sake of practice.
All right, why not?
Finally, a taker. I hope you have coin, though.
Aye, I have.
I'm glad to hear it. Let's get to it, then.
Now!
Fucker!
Dubsy-dee-dee.
Well landed. Fuck. And that's that. Hand over the coin and be on your way.
can't go any further. The current could sweep me to my death.
I'd like to order something here.
So what you interested in?
A bit of everything. Heal my wounds, have a proper bath. Oh, and my garments are in need of laundering.
That can be arranged, but you'll pay in advance.
Fine. Here it is.
I'm sure you'll be extremely satisfied.
I'm looking for someone they call Riki.
That's the tanner's son, Enoch.
Where can I find him?
Hard to say. He's not around here much. Thank God for small blessings. You could try his folks' place.
What's the tanner like? Enoch's father.
The less I see of him, the better. He's not exactly sparkling company.
Why do they call him Riki anyway?
Why do you think? Because he's a tanner, of course.
What can you tell me about this Enoch?
What can I tell you? No, he's none too popular. No one cares to talk to him.
Why not?
Well, I'm not one to gossip, but I heard he keeps bad company.
And does no one at all talk to him?
That harlot Adela hangs around with him, of course.
Harlot?
She works as a bathhouse wench. Same thing.
So why don't people like him?
The old tanner's not an easy man. But a son should never let his father down. Enoch does nothing to help. He's always far too busy with his own affairs, though I wouldn't like to say what those are.
What's that noise?
My respects to you.
What the hell was that? What's that?
I feel a lucky throw coming my way. How about you?
We'll see. That'll do me.
I heard you've been seeing Hinek, the tanner's son.
So what? Come to preach at me, have you? That I'm a loose woman, a sinner, that I seduce decent men?
God, no, nothing like that. It's just that you're the only one in the village who sees Hinek, so I came to ask you about him.
Aye, I've seen him often enough, but I don't know what I could tell you about him.
When did you last see him?
A few days ago, he came to me late in the evening, drunk.
And that was unusual?
I never saw him drink much. He always came to me sober.
So he was acting strangely that evening?
He was strange. I had the feeling he was afraid of something. He keeps prattling on and didn't seem to care about you know what. So I threw him out and I haven't seen him since.
Where can I find Hinek?
I haven't seen him in the village for a few days. He must have run off to the woods again.
Does he do that often?
From time to time.
What the hell does he get up to there?
I don't know.
He goes to the woods from time to time. That smells fishy to me.
What do you mean? There's no law against it, is there?
With all the footpads, looters, cumans, and God knows what other vermin around, it's not the sort of thing an honest man would do.
But Hinek doesn't have anything to do with those people.
Oh, really? Then what does he do there? I don't imagine he's gathering mushrooms.
I really don't know what you want from me. So Hinek is a bit odd and sometimes he goes off into the woods. So what?
Can you remember anything he said that evening?
Oh, I'm not sure. He went on about some fellow called Lubosh who died. That he was regretting he ever got into it. But he never said what it was. And that it wasn't worth it for the money. Aye. And then he was talking about the money. That was very odd.
What did he say about the money?
Just that he had a pile of it hidden behind his house.
I see. What did you say to that?
What could I say? He was drunk. He kept saying I was a fine girl, and other harlots wouldn't go with him even for money. And if I wanted, I could even take half the money and leave. Or he'd go with me, and we could get married and such. All just poppycock.
Did you go there for a look?
No, I've got better things to do. Obviously he made it up. Where would a layabout like him get so much coin?
Yes, I understand. Did he tell you exactly where he hid it?
He said he buried it at his father's small holding in the western corner.
All right, thank you.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
I'm looking for a fellow called Riki. Have you ever heard of him?
Sure. Why wouldn't I? That's what they call my son, Hinek.
Ah, you wouldn't happen to know where he is, would you?
I don't know nothing.
Don't you at least know where he usually goes? It's important.
Hinek shows up at home once in a blue moon, so I don't know nothing about where he gets to. Even if I did, why would I tell every Tom, Dick and Harry?
Watch your tongue, peasant. I'm an envoy of Sir Radzig Kobyla, and this is an official investigation. Stop trying to put me off, and tell me where your son is right now.
I apologize if I offended you, young man. But still, I don't know where Hinek is. He turned up at the house a while back, but then he vanished again in a hurry.
And you don't know where he went? What?
Look, it's been clear to me for a long time that my boy was headed for the gallows. But I'm still his father, right? And you can't expect me to rat on my own son.
If you value your son's life at all, you better pray I find him, because I'm not the only one looking for him.
That's no surprise. But what of it? If you're here on behalf of Sir Radzig, there's nothing waiting for Hinek but the gibbet.
It doesn't have to be that way. If Hinek cooperates, he can save his neck.
I can't say you put my mind at ease. But to hell with it. I'll tell you what I know. All right. He was here a few days ago, but he left right away. He looked like he was in a hurry.
And you don't know where he went?
I've got an idea, but I don't know where it is exactly.
I don't follow.
Hinek makes some money on the side from poaching. He boasted to me a few times about what a great hideout he found in the woods, but he never told me where it is.
Well, it's not much to go on, but it's better than nothing. Thank you. Don't you have any clue at all where his hideout could be?
I really don't know nothing about that. I could tell when he'd come from there, is all.
How's that?
'Cause every time he brought some hides for tanning and money.
What more do you know?
Nothing. I swear to God Almighty, I've said all I know. Hinek never told me nothing.
Bloody hell. Start using your head or I'll never find Hinek. How much time did he spend away? What was he wearing? How did he look when he came back? Anything?
Well, he came and went at all sorts of hours. I really don't know. Except maybe one thing. He'd come home scratched with brambles and with leaves and muck on him.
So he probably went through thick woods to get to that place.
I reckon. What do I know?
He had money because he sold the stuff right away?
I suppose. He never kept any of his loot here.
Do you know who he sold it to?
No. But the innkeeper came here now and again and gave him coin. Of course, it could have been for meat.
All right, I'll ask at the inn then.
What the hell was that? What's that? Hey! What's going on there? Hey!
Don't you have any clue at all where his hideout could be?
I really don't know nothing about that.
How's that?
Because every time he... What is it? Is there something you need?
I hope that I can be of help to you, knight.
I've changed my mind. I would like to play chumps.
Well, well, are you sure?
I do.
Come on, then. Ah, one more chump. Excellent. Now you have to bet at least 10 groschen, 50 at most. There'll be 3 archers competing at the time. The winner gets triple his wager, and the second gets his coin back. So how much will you bet?
Oh, I don't want to lose the shirt off my back. I'd best be careful.
That's the betting over with. Now here are your arrows. And now, I'll see you at the finish.
Bloody hell, the wind took it.
Bloody hell, the wind took it.
Let's see you beat that.
Oh, well, I won't miss the next one.
You've no chance against me, amateurs.
Hit ho.
I've got this easy. Let's see you beat that. I've got this easy. You've no chance against me, amateurs.
I won't miss the next one. Are you serious?
I've got this easy. You've no chance against me, amateurs.
Another on target.
Bloody hell, the wind took it. Bloody hell, the wind took it. No chance against me, amateurs. Almost had it.
Hit home.
Let's see you beat that.
Another on target.
I've got this easy.
Hit.
Bloody hell, the wind took it. Ah, well, I won't miss the next one.
What do you...
So, how did it go?
You came last, lad. But chin up. As soon as you make some money, you can stop by here again and lose it all.
God be with you.
I want to ask about the courier's son, Hinek.
Then ask someone else. I have nothing to do with Riki. He'd only drive my customers away.
Really? I heard a different story. I heard the two of you do business together.
Who are you, anyway?
A friend of Hinek's. He's gone missing and I need to find him.
I don't know where he is. But if you find the bastard, tell him he still owes me some goods.
About the goods Riki owes you.
What about it?
Well, supposing I settle the account for him and you stop dodging my questions and tell me what I want to know.
I suppose that would be all right.
How much is it?
Before he vanished, I paid him in advance for 5 heirs.
All right, done. When I bring them to you, you'll tell me what I want to know.
Deal.
I've got that game for you.
Splendid. Some of the customers have been asking after it. Have you got it or not? What was that? What is it? I'm honoured that a knight such as you takes an interest in me.
Is there anything I can do for you?
As it happens, there is. Drahomira, a widow from Ledechko, requested my services. But it's a long way on foot, and me with my back in such dreadful pain. I simply can't face the journey.
All the way from Ledechko? What, they don't have a herbalist there?
They do, but she didn't want a local. She's a rich widow, inherited a butcher's shop. You know how folks like to gossip, especially about anyone who's better off than them. Do you know anything at all about exorcisms?
Exorcisms?
You know, banishing ghosts, smudging, spells.
I don't think I'm the right man for the job. I don't want to mess up and end up haunted for life.
Yes.